What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I was just telling Benson before we went live. I'm like energized today. I don't know if it's just that our Discord was popping or if I'm drinking an energy drink, but I'm ready to rock and roll, provide some value. Benson, before I go through my whole spiel, how are you doing?
I am great, man. I am so excited. I love these weekly calls. It's, smack dab in the middle of the week, right? Hump day, right? This is a
Hmm.
time where people like it starts to go downhill a little bit, but I see this as a bump up, right? And gets to
Absolutely.
be prepared for the rest of the week. And I get to hang out with you and the rest of the group and, talk shop, find deals, and just get excited about what we're working on.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up because it's all about perspective and mindset. To a lot of people, what it comes down to is when you're in these calls, yes, there's a lot of information going on. And if you're newer and you're trying to get your first deal, it might be even overwhelming. So, what we're trying to do is really lead from the front and show you all the different ways and opportunities that one, we can make money together, but two, we can collaborate and build relationships. That's at the end of the day what this all comes down to. And part of the strategy that we teach specifically on these Wednesday calls is that we're able to go in and show you guys how I've done strategies with working with agents and how we have a beautiful software that Benson can provide, like Privy, to find on market opportunities. So, with that said, I mean, I posted in my Discord, Benson, just kind of like this morning to see what people were feeling and vibing for markets. It
Mhm.
absolutely blew up. Like, we've got, I'm just going to like rapid read these off here, but we've got Phoenix, Grand Rapids, Michigan, North Carolina, Dallas, Philadelphia, Tacoma, New Jersey, Nashville, South New Jersey, Atlanta, Ohio, Sacramento, another Jersey, Memphis, Vegas, pretty much everywhere you could think of in the country. We've got it recommended. Um, I'll let you ponder that for a minute while I said that. Guys, the reason I went through that is because at the end of the day, this is 100% off cuff. There is no script. There's things where you are about to see the very, very, very real version of Benson and Ryan behind the scenes. So while you're over there trying to get your Wolf of Wall Street mentality and how do I get myself pumped up and ready to go, let's see it. Let's see that I'm in a hoodie and some shorts and energy drink, got a microphone to make calls for you guys live. This is about as real as it gets behind the scenes. The one thing I will lead with that is that what I said in my Discord here just before we hopped in, this show is for you guys. This is not for Benson and I. Benson and I have come together and made an agreement that we can dedicate a certain amount of time per week to helping everybody. And yes, if you sign up for Privy, great. If you sign up for Agent Investors, great. What our goal is here is to lead with value. What we can get and give and provide and just resources for free with you showing up every single week. I can't tell you how many DMs I've gotten from people that have said they've gotten their first deal. They understood how a conversation with an agent went. Today, one of the things that was requested was that we show what an offer looks like. So we can't necessarily go through the entire process in a short hour, but what I can try to do is get a verbal offer out. We've talked recently over the last few episodes on running numbers and how we get to a buy number. We show how to get the buyers. Let's today focus in on how to acquire the deals and what those conversations look like with the agents once you already have a buyer lined up. There is so much opportunity for us to be going and making money here that it actually gets me a little upset and frustrated when I see that I feel like this is just, there's opportunity being left. It's not left on the table. This is opportunity that you just don't know what to look for. So let's get a new lens. Let's get this action going and then bring your questions here. Benson and I are here to answer questions and be a resource for you. So take advantage of it.
Oh
All
yeah,
right,
I
let's
love
do
it.
it.
So you did mention quite a few markets there, and
Yeah, bunch
there's
of them.
some that I'm interested in that we can definitely check out.
Okay.
We've never done Grand Rapids before.
Okay.
Now, Grand Rapids is not a high investor activity area. I know that, but
Okay.
it doesn't mean that you shouldn't target it. So let's start with that one. What do you think about
Cool.
that?
Let's do it. You want to share your screen today, and then I'll focus a little bit more on just kind of like walking people through the process as to what we're doing in the system. And you can point out the tips and tricks. And then let's get on the phone with these agents ASAP and maximize this hour.
Let's do it. Cool. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Privy, just want to give you kind of a baseline understanding of what we're looking at here. This is the data source coverage map. This kind of shows you where we've got different data sources. Wherever you see blue is going to be the best data that's available. That is the data that we call direct to MLS. It's the same data that agents and appraisers use. However, it's way better than just like what their MLS is because it's got automation built into it. It's got curated data that's actionable that you can take action on. And the pink ones or the blue ones are the ones that are live. The pink ones are the ones that are coming soon. So there's over 90 direct to MLS areas, And the red ones are the ones that were kind of getting launched. Wherever you see the black and the yellow, those are still areas where you can use Privy. It's just it's kind of like prop stream level data. It's mostly public record data with some third party MLS data. Usable, you can actually do deals there. It just isn't the best that's available. So when I'm looking for a market to target, I want to use a kind of a checkbox system. So the main thing is there high investor activity there? That's the main thing I want. The second thing is there direct to MLS data there? I want that as well. And the last thing is, am I my own boots on the ground there? So the you living in the area should not be the first thing that you use as a criteria to how you choose a market to look for deals. So this person that chose Grand Rapids, I would bet $1,000 that person lives there. Is that wrong? No, it's just that there are other markets that would be potentially a better uh, use of their time. But I do want to show this market just so you can see the kind of the differences. So up here at the top, when I click this button that says find or fix and flip, this is going to plot on the map where all the investor activity is nationwide. And investor activity is what we define it as, is a property that was purchased, fixed up, and sold, and they got it lower than 75% of the ARV. Now, why does that matter? Because in a business where we measure how good a deal is based off of a percentage of ARV, right? We know that percentage of ARV is after repair value. You literally can't determine the after repair value of a house that you're evaluating if there's no flips in the neighborhood. And not only do those have to be flips in the neighborhood, but those flips have to be comps of yours. They have to be similar number of bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage. It has to be a true comp of yours. So if it's difficult to make that happen, then you shouldn't be putting a whole lot of effort there. And this is why we tell you to avoid these areas that have no blue. Now, there are some areas that have blue, but it's low numbers, like North Dakota, like ones and fives and eights. And, the Bismarck has 99, but this is a market I would never choose. So we choose these high investor activity areas because that increases the chance that you're going to have all the data that you need, the buyers, the other ingredients you need to assemble a deal. When I look at Detroit, the highest investor activity area is actually, when we look at Michigan, the highest investor activity area is Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to look at Grand Rapids. Detroit is one we're actually working on adding. It's one of our coming soon markets with direct to MLS. But you can see here that when that launches, this is easily going to be one of the hottest areas in the whole US that you'll want to target. So let's look at Grand Rapids. So right over here, that's probably second behind Detroit. So let's
And
look at that.
Benson, just to clarify, the way that you're determining first, second, what this is by good market is solely based off of high numbers, right?
Higher number, well, relative numbers, right? So like
Yeah.
you want a number that's higher than another one. So if you were going to do North Dakota, then it's going to be in Bismarck, like
Right.
no place else. But you want to think about like, well, in this world where we can do stuff virtually, well, why would I choose Bismarck when I can choose St. Louis, which is what I was thinking, right? So I'm not going to go and choose an area in my own state because I feel like it's convenient. Like that's not the right rationale. So we look at Grand Rapids. You can see here that there's a decent amount of investor activity here, and there's these are all the fix and flips that have happened. So these are properties again that have been renovated. They've been purchased, fixed up, and sold. So there's like a hot pocket right here. There's one down here. There was another one over in this area, and so this is where you're going to be looking for deals. So if you were going to be sourcing off-market leads, you wanted to pull lists. Like you'd want to make sure you're very specific about this area compared to like down here in Millbrook or compared to Medical Mile. Like this is probably a commercial district. So
Mm-hmm.
don't target Wyoming Park either. Like this is where you're going to pull your list. This is where you're going to drive for dollars. This is where you're going to knock on doors. If you're telling an agent to look for deals for you, this is going to be where you're going to do it. And you can look at the zip codes. So if you're sourcing lead lists from elsewhere, be very conscious of which zip codes you're pulling those lists. Like, we've got lists in Privy, you can pull them from us, and you can do that very simply by just circling an area, but you might be pulling a list of something that we don't have, like code
Mm-hmm.
violations, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And the nice thing about this is too, is that some of the stuff when we explain it, I try to put it as elementary as possible. So for those that have watched a few of our videos, if you hear stuff that's being repeated, also understand that sometimes things don't click until you hear it the second or third time. So when we say things and break it down, just try to make as much note as you can and follow along. But the beautiful thing about this is that it's a recording. So you can go back and rewatch this on YouTube and go back and make notes according. But it's as simple as on the left side, this is sorted by date sold. So if you're looking for as recent as yesterday, whatever the most recent is, a recent property in this area as to where we're zoomed in that would have sold is going to be this. So from understanding what the sold data is to how recent it sold, the only other thing that I make a mental note of, I don't even go to the extreme as to what Benson said there of, oh, this is a commercial district. This probably isn't a good area. Those are things that go right over my head because I just don't know what I don't know. So what I'm looking at just strictly is where's the bubble? Where's the action? And then if I can make just a slight mental note, like I did on this case, most of these properties are under $250,000. So the reason I say that is just to get a little familiar. So if for whatever reason I'm scrolling through on the left side trying to find a buyer, if I see a property that sold for 400,000, that's an outlier. That's not something I'm going to go in with the expectation that this is going to be the best buyer. Am I telling you not to call them? Absolutely not. I'm telling you to call everybody, but just understand the awareness that going in and the intention behind what the conversation is. So intention's a word that I've been talking about a lot recently. To further elaborate, intention for what this purpose is right here is market research, finding buyers, whether that is direct to the buyer or direct to the agent that has the relationship with the person that just sold this. We are looking to build a relationship with the buyer to give us the confidence to know how we are going to wholesale to that person. So what I mean by that is if this guy paid or girl paid 250,000, or sorry, they flipped the house, they sold it for 250. We can see that they bought the property on the MLS. They paid 148. They sold it for 250. Privy is awesome enough to even tell us what the ARV percentage is because we know what the after repair is because we got their sold information. After repair value of 250, 59% of that is 148. So if we can understand that that 102 number that they made is their gross amount, we don't know their net number. Not to be this guy that's super blunt, I don't care about their net number. As long as they are not out of the business, it's none of my business. So all I want to know is what are you looking for to buy? If I were to come and put on a silver platter the very perfect deal that you are going to pull the trigger, give me $5,000 non-refundable earnest money, what is it? Is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,700 square foot house in 49509 up to 250? Because that sounds to me like a buy box. When I can understand what their buy box is, I can reverse engineer as to what's currently on the market. The biggest advantage as to what we go through, which I really want to emphasize on today, isn't even the nitty gritty and the detail and all that stuff that you're going to get lost in the process. It's going to be identifying properties that are on market with a given buy box already. So if we've gone through and watch our replays and stuff we've done in the past, if I call this agent and they tell me, yes, my buyer's looking for things that are up to after repair value 250. More realistically, they'd like to buy anything single family home under 175, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, up to 2,000 square feet in this specific zip code. I can go in, I can put that filter in on Privy based off the ARV, which you can't do on the MLS. Privy will say, here's all the properties to go and target. Or it'll say that buyer is unrealistic and there's nothing. Very rarely do you come across a situation where there isn't a buy box, a filter where it's going to fit at least 50 properties if you're in a good enough area. If there's high investor activity, I promise you the opportunities are there. And Benson, do you think that we should call this person to see if they're a buyer? Or do you think we jump right into offers? What would you recommend?
Well, let's look at a couple more pieces of data here that I think
Okay,
are worth noting,
let's do it.
because what we're doing right now is we're doing our local market education. We're doing our market research on what is a deal in Michigan. And so in this Grand Rapids area, so this person was willing to buy a property from the MLS up to 59% of the ARV.
Sounds
So we're
about right.
starting to kind of understand the local market realities, right? Below that, we can get into this section called public record where we show you who the actual buyer was. So this was Mitten Key Realty LLC. So Mitten Key Realty LLC is the buyer on this, or flipper. Those are kind of the same names for the same person, two different names for the same person. We show you mortgage history if there was a mortgage, the property history, so you can see if there's price reductions, anything like that. Um, but this is the part about building your buyers list. Like you could go directly to the buyer, which is a 1-to-1, like Ryan mentioned, or if you are limited time and you're good at talking with agents, then you might go to the agent, and that agent was Brittany Thomas. So down here at the bottom it says sold by United Realty Services LLC, Brittany Thomas. So
Wow.
Brittany is an investor friendly agent because she worked with this investor. And so she likely has a couple different things we want. Number one, more buyers. Number two, she might have pocket listings, other properties that she comes across that maybe the best, highest and best use of that house is not to put it on the MLS, but to sell it to an investor and avoid all of the, I don't even know what you call it, the things that are just make listing properties not very fun, right? It's kind of just a not a
Mhm.
fun situation, and it's can
And
be.
Benson, how do we know that she's an investor friendly realtor? I mean, if we scroll up and I see the photos on the left and the right, I know that that is the MLS photos of the before. So I know they bought the property from the MLS.
Mhm.
How do I know that Brittany Thomas is investor friendly?
Well, you don't know for a fact, but you can infer because any agent that represents a flipper has to earn that business. They don't just come up and just show up and then be like, "Hey, yeah, I get to list your property." Typically, they have to earn it, and so the agent on this side of the transaction, this is Robert Novasad. They listed this property for the owner, the person who lived in it, right? So that is not all that exciting. That one's probably you wouldn't have any evidence to say is this agent is investor friendly because this person's not an investor. This one over here is a flipper, right? They are an investor. So Brittany had to get that business somehow. Maybe this is the only one she's ever done, but that's enough to like at least start a conversation. And the likelihood is she's worked with other buyers.
And then also too, if I was a realtor watching this and maybe not familiar with the process, and I'm like, you guys are the evil people that are making all these people reach out to me. How would you like switch this perspective that if you were a realtor, why would it be valuable to have another investor friendly realtor in your sphere? Do you know that answer, Benson, or what would you say?
Can you rephrase that for me?
So I'll go ahead and I'll mention it first, and then I'd love to get your feedback on it too, because we haven't had this conversation, but I think it's a really transparent one to have. So if these people that are watching, let's say maybe it's even live or on the replay, what if it's an agent and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Ryan, Benson, you guys are the ones that are telling all these investors to go contact me." They have a bad
Mm,
taste in their mouth about wholesaling. So why would it be beneficial for a realtor to be able to look at data like this and see one, obviously that guy Robert was the one that represented the seller, but two, Brittany represented the investor. My thought process is if you're a realtor, first off, you should be doing this strategy to begin with. Like you need to be submitting offers, working with other agents, collaborate rather than compete against each other. The second piece I
mhm.
look at is what if you had a client that was looking for a house in an area 49509 and you were getting beat out on every offer? What if you had a relationship with Brittany Thomas and she was able to bring fixed remodeled properties to you before they went live on market, and your client that you represented as the buyer's agent got a property without having to go and compete against the general public? What if Brittany's flipper started flipping properties and selling them directly to your clients? What if you start teaching Brittany how to wholesale if she's not already familiar with it, and she's able to connect pieces and understand what value you bring with deals and what value she could bring in opportunities for your clients or even more deals to the table too? So, Benson, I'm just curious if there's anything that I missed. Like, what would
No,
be
there's
something
yeah,
would
any agent that would have that perspective is closed-minded, scarcity mentality, like not an entrepreneur type agent.
Mhm.
They're an agent who is just doing what they learned in real estate school and maybe what the brokerage is telling them to do, and they're just not seeing the big picture. They could be newer, but they just don't get it. Um, Entrepreneurial type agents understand that there's money all in all facets of the business, and they just have to be creative to find those niches where they can earn money, and potentially make a lot more money in these niches than just doing traditional real estate, which is just driving people around and being a glorified Uber driver and opening up doors, and that's a tough business. So
Mhm.
part of this might be an angle of like you wholesalers and then that are watching this to learn what the value proposition is to work with you, like not selling yourself so much as what the opportunity is. What can they get by working with you? Well, all the things that Ryan just mentioned, right? There's a possibility of you basically being like a bird dog for them to bring them opportunities they wouldn't otherwise be able to find themselves through MLS. You're a grinder, and people like you are grinders who are out there like really just searching for properties, doing all the major legwork, finding homes for them. They can get involved in, you finding properties for their regular clients, right? The market's shifted a bit, but there was a time period there where agents couldn't find anything for their clients. They'd be looking for 6 months, couldn't find anything. And so a lot of them were starting to look for stuff off market because that's what was, that's where the opportunities were, but they just didn't know how to do it. Guess who knows how to do that? Wholesalers, right? So there's lots of ways why and reasons why they should work with you. You just have to open their eyes to that possibility.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that too. I was actually trying to put this in like a chart the other day of all the different ways that conversations can go. It doesn't matter which, like if it's trying to find buyers or on market deals, the way you can provide value, whether you are the agent, buyer, wholesaler, whatever it is, you have like 5 or 6 different pivots that you could go through every single conversation. So if you understand that what I mentioned earlier about intention, you're going in with the intention to provide value, not the intention to go in and make this transactional. Everything about these relationships are relational. It is value driven and understanding that the results after follow based off of how good you are at your job. How good are you at building the buyer's list? How good are you at running your numbers? This is things that you're not supposed to be good at the first time you underwrite a property. I really highly encourage, and I've said this like 3 times already, so really understand this. Go back and watch the replays. The amount of times where Benson and I have pulled out the calculator and gone through examples and literally been off by $500, $600, $700. We are giving you the exact formula how to run your numbers. The next thing you have to get good at is building a buyer's list and comping the properties. Now, this is where the system even does that for us, where we can see when we're looking at active deals, what properties are based off of the comps, what they're valued at based on the comps around them. So to start off here is to find buyers. It's to build relationships. It's to get your foot in the door. The second piece, it's almost like, bear with me on this baseball analogy, and you guys know how I am with analogies, but like this first piece is baseball. You pulled up to the stadium. You're in the dugout. This is batting practice. Now we're about to go to the big stage here. We're about to get in the batter's box and we're going to swing. That's when you're looking at the active properties, comping them, and going and submitting offers. Based off of what you're hitting is going to be your assignment fee. If it's a single, it could be a couple grand. Who knows? The home runs to me aren't even the ones that make the most amount of money. They're the ones I build the best relationships. So what I'm challenging you guys all here to do, we're putting on our big boy pants, our big girl pants, and we're going and we're at the stadium. We're taking back batting practice right now. These conversations should be the easiest thing in the world because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just have a conversation. Don't go off a script. This conversation intentionally, when I'm calling a sold deal, is to call Brittany and just see, hey, is your client that you just did the property on Nagel Southwest Avenue, is that buyer looking to buy more properties? And honestly, even how I just tried to present that and butchered the name of the street, that's human. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear the, oh gosh, don't worry. Don't even get me started. I don't know how to pronounce it either. Show that you're human and you're real. There's no script. There's nothing worse than when you get on the phone, you're like, hello, my name is Ryan. That's not what this is here. You're getting up there and saying, hey, what's up? My name's Ryan. Honestly, I'm struggling. I'm trying to find some deals, trying to find some relationships. I'm out of this state. I'm not in Michigan. For those that are not in Michigan, this is the exact script I'd be using. What's up? My name's Ryan. I'm calling about the property. Looks like you just sold. That was beautiful. Tell me about it. Zip your mouth and just listen. Listen to whatever they're willing to tell you, whatever they're willing to say. Provide value based off of what they are responding to. If they're busy, I'm pivoting. Hey, I know it sounds like you're busy. I don't want to take too much time. I come across a lot of properties like this. I'm trying to figure out who to send them to. Is your buyer looking for another deal? I'm not lying. I'm not playing games. I'm not going in trying to say I'm somebody that I'm not. I'm not trying to even go in. I've had people be like, Ryan, I don't have 20 flips I've done before. I don't have private money. I don't have the experience. I said nothing there about having experience other than I get a lot of these properties. I don't know who to send them to. Is your buyer looking for more deals? We are doing this to build the relationship with the buyers to start, to be able to reverse engineer off of the buy box from them what is active on market. If you have the buyer lined up, wholesaling shouldn't be as scary as it is.
Yep. So let's call this person. When you want to call Brittany first?
Yeah, you got it.
So United Realty Services.
You got it. And I got it already pulled up.
Right.
We are not allowed per YouTube to give out information to people. So bear with me. If you guys were looking for the how to find this person's information. Realtors are not hidden. So if I were to look up United Realty Services LLC, first and last name of this person, the very first thing I clicked on has a number that I'm going to call. So I'm going to try to mess up a couple of these conversations just to show you guys, like, there really is absolutely no script here. So at a certain point too, you can double dial. In this case, I don't think there's anything wrong with it because it made it sound like it was only going to be half the phone, like half the ringing. It wasn't like it let it ring the whole time. As I say that stuff, don't overthink it. If you make a call and they don't answer, if you just want to hang up and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say, and I messed up, I just hung up. I could do that too. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is how many conversations are you having? What I want everybody to be able to take away from this is actionable things, even if every week you're only getting one nugget. I mean, I think Benson and I are pretty cool, and I think that we provide a little more than one nugget per week. But if you're only taking away one thing and it's action, that's what this comes down to. What we're looking for is just the opportunity to provide value to you guys, for you to go and take that same opportunity and come back and share it. Inspiration is through sharing the successes, the failures, but more importantly, just the overall experience. Here's what I did. Here's what I went through. As long as you could take the constructive criticism with also full understanding that Benson and I aren't going to be like, you suck. We're going to tell you what we would have done differently. I'm going to be able to get up here and just show you guys some of the combos. How many of us, and myself included, I will raise my hand here. How many of us have done a phone call and then halfway through you're nervous, so you hang up? I've done that. I'm at the point now, I make the call and I figure out who it is I'm calling after as the phone's ringing. That's the point of where I'm at now, but this is 7 years down the road. My first few calls, first few months, I was terrified. But I also didn't know what else I was supposed to do because the team I was on just said, make your calls. So let's just get this going. Let's be able to make some action and understand what we're doing. So again, if there's anything that you guys can't understand in this process, make sure to drop it in the comments. We are finding buyers, getting the buy box from the buyers to go and look at what's active on the MLS. Every bit of this is agent outreach, from finding buyers to on-market deals. The overall goal is obviously having conversations, submitting offers, and selling those deals. So Benson, in this case too, if we were just to hypothetically say that Brittany answered, she's awesome, investor-friendly agent, her client's looking for properties just like this, we can run off of just the data showing that they bought the property at 59% of ARV, which is completely normal right now for fix and flips, in my opinion. 59% of ARV. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1776 square foot house. Looks like it's single level, built 1930, so year probably doesn't matter too much. Based on what we can see from the photos before and after, they're willing to do pretty good remodel from exterior to interior. The other thing that we can make a note of is we can see that they made a gross profit of 102. So we can kind of get a rough estimate as to what their profit margins are. Obviously, like just through, I can reverse engineer numbers. I'm going to say that they're probably looking around 10 to 15% of ARV as their numbers. Would you say that even if we didn't get on the phone, it's a fair assumption that if I brought them an opportunity, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, under 1,800 square feet, under 200,000 with enough spread, that they would buy it?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Depends on the condition of the home, right? That's the major kind of wild card in any of these. Is like, what condition of the home? What's the condition of the home?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like kind of a house like this that's like been lived in? You know, it looks like it's pretty solid. You know, as you're just kind of fixing the kitchen and the bathrooms and painting carpet, or is there a roof leak and
Mm-hmm.
water's coming in and the foundation's crumbling and it needs a new furnace and the electrical box is blown and you know the pipes are all lead, like then those numbers won't work, right? And that's the hard part about real estate, you guys, is that you know there's always going to be the unknown. So you want to have kind of like a standard remodel like this would be what I would call a standard remodel, which is probably like $30 a square foot. And then you have ranges. And then if you have ones like a lipstick, it might be $20 a square foot. Maybe something a little bit more high end is $40 a square foot, and maybe a full gut is $50 or $60 a square foot.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So,
So we need
Benson,
another agent to call.
yeah, let's just go ahead and get another call. And if this one doesn't answer, I think we just make some offers and try to get some agents on the phone based off the buy box that we can assume that they'd be interested in. And obviously, again, just do as I say, not as I do. In this case, I'm not telling you just to go and submit offers without having buyers. But if I can run the data and see this in front of me in real time, that this buyer just sold the property, I know that the hardest part for investors is finding deals. So if that is the hardest part of their job and I can go and find those opportunities, as long as the numbers make sense, they should be interested in purchasing. And I put should, very highlighted, asterisk, star, underline, circle, should. We don't have guaranteed, we don't have a buyer. So I'm not telling you to go in and submit offers on this because we don't have a buyer. However, we're trying to find one. So,
all right, one more call here. So let's call Scott Fader of Joseph Walter Realty LLC.
Cool. We're gonna get this guy to bring us some buyers. Let's do it. It's going to be automated, isn't it?
Welcome to Joseph Walter Realty. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please listen closely to the menu options. They've recently changed. If you are a realtor needing information or access to a home, please press 1. If you have questions regarding our services, please press 2. If you are a client, please press 3. If you need technical support, please press 4. If you are calling regarding title support, please press 5.
Let's see if I can figure this out.
Thank you for calling Front Desk. Please hold for the next available agent. Good afternoon, Joseph Walter Realty. Can I help you?
Hi, I was trying to get connected with one of the agents at the brokerage, Scott. I don't want to butcher his last name. I think it's Fader.
It's okay. He's not available at the moment. Were you calling about a property?
Yeah, it's a property that he just sold. Just trying to get some information on it and see. I've got another one that's in the area and just trying to see if his client would be interested in buying it.
Okay. So they're actually all MLS listings?
Yeah, so we're referring to one that was sold. I see that he sold one that was just around the area. It looks like it was remodeled and flipped. So what we're trying to do is see if he, and I don't want to obviously go around him. I have the LLC of the person that sold it, but just out of courtesy, and also I feel like it'd be a little more efficient if I just went through him and then brought him in on the deal.
Okay. What was the property address?
609 Dolby, Dolbee, Southeast Avenue.
So for this, you're going to want to reach out to Jamichael, Jamichael.
Okay. And do you have a phone number? And what was the guy's name again?
It's Jamichael, Jamichael.
Jamichael. Okay. And was he like a co-listing agent or was he
Nope, he's just the seller of the property.
Okay. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
No
problem. Wild. They gave me the seller's number.
She gave you the seller's number.
I'm going down this rabbit hole, guys. You're going down with me. Sorry.
So that doesn't happen, you guys, by the way.
Please state your name after the tone and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Ryan. Curious now. I'm like, is he a contractor? Is he a flipper? Like, there's something to unpack here, but regardless, I'm getting this agent's info. We're gonna make this work.
Thank you for calling King Property Solutions. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike. This is Ryan. I just got your number from, honestly, I don't even know her name. She was at the front desk over at Joseph Walter Realty.
Oh, yes. How's it going?
Awesome. It's good, man. How are you?
Good.
Got a question for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, no problem.
It looks like you just sold the property, and I'm not sure, honestly, what role you were in. She kind of just gave me your number and said to call, but the property 609 Dolby Southeast Avenue. Did you sell that one?
Yes. Yep. That is correct.
Gotcha. Were you the person that flipped it, or were you the agent that sold it, or what was your role? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, I'm the person that flipped it.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, dude, I'll just cut straight to it. I've got a couple properties that I'm in the works on right now. I'm based in Arizona, but We started kind of branching out to different markets just as the market and, real estate in general kind of flipped on us. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're looking at some properties out in that area, but what I wanted to do is see if I could provide some value to the realtors that already have done some deals that sold recently, and even to the people that are looking to buy more, and see if there's a way we could collaborate and if I could bring you some opportunities.
Yeah, I'm always open to do more business. That's for sure.
All right, guys, this is called expectations. Watch this. So, question for you. Just to be very transparent, I shoot straight. I feel like I can just be honest with you and transparent. Part of our process is that we wholesale deals. I don't want to step on anyone's toes or obviously confuse anybody. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that process. Have you bought from wholesalers in the past?
Oh yeah, that's how I got in the game, was wholesaling. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So you wouldn't have an issue then if we were to wholesale a deal?
No, not at all.
Beautiful. Well, dude, I appreciate you so much. If it's possible, could I grab your email address?
Yeah, no problem. Let me know when you're ready.
Give me 1 second. You got it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add you on my list. You are the only person that I've been talking to out in that market. So I'm going to get to work on these. And as soon as I get them under contract, you're the first person I'll give a shout to.
Awesome. I appreciate that, brother. Look forward to working with you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Bye.
Boom.
That's how it's done.
That was awesome. So
unbelievable, to be honest with you guys. That does not happen. That is why we do these calls. That is a 1 in, I don't want to say a million, but probably 1 in a good 100,000. You don't typically get direct buyers information, direct sellers information. The person at this Joseph Walter Realty, unfortunately, just cut out the realtor in the transaction. I don't go direct to buyer, direct to seller. A lot of times I work through agents. Now, I do have some buyers, obviously, direct in Arizona that we wholesale our deals to. But with that said, I'm still going to do what's right here. And if we get a deal that is sent to us in Grand Rapids, and I would very, very, very much encourage anybody else that is trying to do the same, what I will do, I will give out this information if you guys send me a DM on Instagram. But what I want to see is I want there to be commitment and promise from you guys that if you get something, include this guy, Scott. This is his client. This is someone that I'm not trying to go around, because that's not what this is about. At the end of the day, how much more value do you think Scott would bring to you if he knew that you had the ability to go around him and chose not to? This business, at the end of the day, and I will say this not just because I'm a realtor held to a code of ethics, you have to be able to sleep at night. We are not here trying to take grandma to the cleaners. We're not here trying to put a seller in a specific situation that's going to harm them or hurt them or not be in their best interest. What I'm trying to do is lead with value and find the opportunities where someone's going to sell their house for pennies on the dollar. If it's going to be between me and somebody else, I might as well be in the running. Now I have a buyer lined up, a legitimate buyer. I didn't qualify and ask any buy box or anything like that because I was trying just to like wrap my head around the fact I'm talking to a buyer. But it's a very fair assumption that based off of what he just purchased, he is willing to buy another 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom under 2,500 square feet. The year it's built clearly doesn't matter to him. We could see the extent to the rehab and remodel. It looks like good quality, good exterior work. We can send him things up to $200,000 that are in this specific area.
56% of the ARV is what he bought that house at.
What do you buy it at?
56%.
So guys, I'm telling you right now, it sounds to me like up to 60% of ARV is what people are willing to purchase. So if we have 54 to 59% right now, I would set a search where I'm looking for these deals at 60% or lower. In Grand Rapids, I have a buyer lined up ready to go that just sold his last deal.
Yep. And you can tell he's totally open. Like there was no hesitation, no closed-mindedness, no scarcity mentality there. Like he was all about working with others. He was like, yeah, I'm always looking for deals. I started out as a wholesaler, right? That's how I got in the game. So he's a perfect kind of partner to work with. And somebody you'd want to build a good relationship with, not just with sending deals to, but like getting a feel for the market. Like where are the hot areas that he knows about? What are the opportunities that he sees? Like talk shop with the guy for a while. Have him, kind of glean some of that, education and market knowledge that he has onto you. And especially if you're doing stuff remotely, like those are the kinds of partners that you want, who will make it feel like you have local market knowledge that's not just based off of what you can find inside of Privy.
And what I wanted to show you guys on that call wasn't just that I can still handle myself with the buyers directly. But also I wanted to show you guys that the fear of wholesaling and having to lie and jump around these hoops, I paused it, muted my phone, and said, hey guys, watch this. This is called setting expectations. Hey, Mike, by the way, just to be very transparent, fumbled a couple words. I am going in and I wholesale. I want to be fully honest. Is that going to be an issue? No, not at all, bro. Cool. Just want to make sure, and I'm understanding it, reiterating, you wouldn't have a problem if I made an assignment fee. Not one bit. That's how I started. Boom.
Yeah.
That's called just being a good investor. If you're somebody that doesn't want to work with wholesalers and you are a wholesaler, don't be that person. That's called hypocrites. Okay. What we're trying to be is someone that's providing value, leading with it within, granted, we spent 40 minutes here. We have a direct buyer. I'm not even talking about an agent anymore. We have somebody that is looking to purchase yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's hungry. He's ready to do business. He finished with that. I'm excited to do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how you want that call to go. So let's see if we can find some deals for him. He goes by Mike, right? So
Yes, sir. Jamichael, but he goes by Mike. I got sell. I got email. We know what he's willing to buy based off of the data. Don't even need to ask for proof of funds. Don't need to ask for past deals because I see it. I got his buy box. Anything under 2,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, year built, does not matter, up to 60% of ARV.
Yep. So the easiest way to find deals in Privy is to use the on-market active deal finder. Now, if we wanted to start sourcing some off-market deals, you absolutely could just by going up in here to the filter and then pulling some lists. You know, you could pull absentee owners or foreclosures or vacancies. It's up to you. But if you want to find that low-hanging fruit, then leverage our deal finding algorithm to find stuff that you can write offers on today. Now, there may not be anything available today, and that's okay. But what we'll do is we'll save this search so that when something does pop up that matches Michael's um, buying criteria, that we get an alert and then we're on it. We get that offer out, lock it up, and then we get it over to him so he can take a first look at it. I like how you said that to him. You're my only buyer out there, so anything I come across is going to you. Like you already made him feel like he's on a pedestal, and so buyers like to feel like that.
Absolutely. Obi, go ahead, reach out. Let me grab my Discord link. I'll post it in the chat. Feel free to hop in there. Like I said, YouTube slapped Benson and I on the wrist saying that we can't do this. So bear with me. But what I will do is I'll put our Discord community link. I will put his information in there after we are done here. So,
yep. So he goes, what I'm doing now is I click that button at the top. It said the green button, find similar active deals. So what that does is it goes in and it runs comps on the properties that are in the area. And we're going to lower the percentage of ARV from the standard default setting of 75% to 60%. What was the price point?
I would say anything under 200,000, because if he sold it at 250 and he's buying at 50%, I suck at math, but bear with me. I'm going to assume that's 120-ish range that he paid. So I would just say up to 200,000 is what he's willing to. 3-bed, 2-bath is what I would go off of, but also let's just see what we got available. So 60% up to 200. We've only got a few. That's why I didn't really want to cross it off. But now we know, and remembering, at least from what I could, Benson, you said, well, I guess we're zoomed out a little bit because I was going to say it's a little bit south of that Indian village that we didn't love, right?
Yeah, we were all over the place looking at this, but he was basically, I think, right down here in this Wyoming park. Yeah, okay. But, Grand Rapids is not a huge city. So I have a feeling that, there's certain areas maybe he doesn't want to go to, but he would be generally interested in anything where the numbers make sense. And most investors are like that.
And so Benson too, we have this set to 60% as the maximum. So if we were to theoretically put it at 65, knowing I just had to negotiate it down a little bit, that could open up more opportunities as well. So even if we want to go 64, 65%, we're going to see hopefully an extra 5 properties.
An extra none.
Extra none. So if we zoomed out a little bit, we'd probably see a little bit more, but remembering that in Grand Rapids, we are in the bulk of where the deals are going on. So what I would still recommend for everybody, contact these agents and understand that this is the slow burn. There was a deal that we closed on a couple of weeks ago for 160 that took us 7.5 months of working an agent. So if that's where we're at in nurturing and building these relationships, understand that it may not be this deal, but it's the next. That's the mentality for every single conversation. It's providing value. How do we all win here? Not just me. How do we all win? And then how do we do this consistently? How do we go do 5, 6, 7 of these every month, every couple of months?
So, I mean, this house, even though we only have a few, this one is worth, taking a look at.
Let's
So
do
this
it.
one just came on the market. It's 119,000. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. It isn't a 3-2 or 3-3 like he had before, but we don't know that he doesn't want that because he didn't
Mhm.
tell us yet. Um, and so we come down here. It's been on the market for 4 days. So if it's a good deal and it hasn't gone under contract yet, it means it will soon. I don't see any sort of notes about like, oh, showings on Sunday only. So
Oof.
they just listed this thing and they're not even allowing showings yet. So this is why it's still available. So we scroll down here, we look at the comparables, and here's the subject property right here. And then we have these blue icons here. These are the ones that give us a percentage of ARV lower than 65%. So all the investor comps. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties, when the math is done, because you don't want to have to go into them each on your own, it gives us lower than 65%. So the closest fix and flip is for sale for 220. That one hasn't gone under contract yet. 14 days on market. This one's pending at 235. That one was on the market for 20 days. So we're going to be close to 235 on this one. Would you say it? Would you agree on that one, Ryan?
1,000%.
Now, it says it's a 3-2. Ours says it's a 2-1. So there are going to have to be some adjustments here to get to an adjusted ARV. But the other
And I,
question is, can we get another bedroom and bathroom in this house? Possibly. Because ours has a basement.
Yep.
So based off of this, what do you think is a good ARV for this house?
If I'm going to go without the bedroom, bathroom add-on, I'm going to go probably 215,
Okay.
220. Again, this is all market research based off of not being in this market. So it might be astronomically different in ARV. It might be the difference of that 35K. So I think if I was going conservative, 200, realistically, what I would push 210, 215, maybe even up to 220. But let's just go off the sake of 215.
Okay.
So times by 0.93 minus by how big of a house are we? We're 1,400.
So you guys, Ryan's using 0.93. So why do you use 0.93, Ryan?
0.93 is, so I always got really upset like when I was trying to learn and people were like, oh, it's just 60% minus repairs, 75% minus repairs. It was never like again, I always say I suck at math. I saw the comments in here. Someone said Ryan sucks at math, like Michael Jordan sucks at basketball. No, I'm talking like 1.7 GPA, barely passing high school. I only know 3% because I'm a realtor. That's the kind of math I'm talking about here. I needed it to make sense. Even if it is base level understanding of formulas, 93% was something that I was able to understand because it includes closing costs, holding costs, and commission. And I always try to explain it. It kind of goes very quickly, so bear with me. The 5% in commission that we are assuming is not that we're paying. It's that the person that's buying it from us, our formula we're figuring out here is what somebody that is going to buy it from us is willing to pay. So if they are willing to pay X price, anything below that I could get, it should be my fee. So obviously this is dependent on how much profit your buyer wants to make, what the renovation costs are, but the 93% is universal. So whenever anybody asks me about how to calculate numbers, this is literally universal. 93%, 5% commission is what the person that buys it from me will have to pay in the worst case scenario outcome. More realistically, they'll pay 1 point to the seller's agent, their own agent, if they're not already licensed themselves. They'll pay 2.5% to the buyer's agent, 3.5% in commission, 1.5% in holding costs. We're at 5%. The remaining 2%, I overshoot, but again, just to be conservative for my buyer, 1% in closing costs to buy it from me, 1% in closing costs when they have to sell it at the end. So if we are at 7% off the top, we're at 93%. So now in this case, we are at 210 minus our ARV or minus times by 93%. It'll come out to, what is that? 215, 199, 950.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Benson, this house is how many square feet? I think I saw like 1,400.
1464.
1464. I don't know the cost per square foot in renovations. In Arizona, we're running about 40, 45 bucks a square foot. So I would say in Michigan, it might be a little bit cheaper, but I also don't know. I mean, it could very well be higher because there's not as much activity. It might be harder to get material there. It might be harder to get contractors. So if you guys are in this market and my numbers are off, call me out. I'm just going to go off of the Arizona numbers of 40 bucks a square foot to shoot high. So if we're at 1464 times by 40 bucks a square foot, that's $58,000 in renovation. So Benson, if you don't mind, could I go back and see the photos really fast, what the condition of this property is? Just based off of judgment and partially guessing, we're going to see how much we're going to say this needs a renovation. If the floor can be held and kept, fantastic. We definitely need new trim. We need new baseboards. We're probably new flooring.
Yep, new flooring.
New kitchen. This is a full remodel. So 40 is probably a little light. And also, Benson, go back to the kitchen really fast. This is things I don't expect people to pick up on, but is this not slanted? Is there a foundation issue? If there's a foundation issue, there's a big issue. So what I'm looking at here is my $58,000 reasonable for a 1,400 square foot house? Through my experience, adding an extra $5,000 in landscape is huge. In this case, if it's anything foundational, anything roof, AC, big ticket items, that rehab budget could double. So what I'm going to assume, just for the sake of being conservative, we're at 58. I'm going to round to 60. I'm going to add an additional $5,000 just because, especially with all this going on. So if we say it's 65,000, and again, I am fully aware that this might be off by a lot when I'm talking renovation cost. This is just going through trying to give you guys the example of the formula. What I would do if I was in this area trying to figure out cost per square foot, I would be talking to contractors, talking to this guy, Mike. Hey man, just don't want to waste your time. What kind of price per square foot are you guys running right now?
Yeah, it's a great thing. People should always ask their buyers, what's the price per square foot you typically work off of? And then that way too, when you're working the deal and you think this house fits the buy box of Mike, and he's typically works off of $35 a square foot, then you're using numbers that he uses. Whereas maybe somebody else works off of $40 a square foot or $45 a square foot. So, have a good rule of thumb if you don't have anybody in mind, but if you know what people use, your buying criteria, that's part of the buy box, is how they calculate construction costs.
So let's run the numbers on it. And again, we're just going hypothetical as to $40 a square foot. It came out to like 60K. I'm going to round it up to 65. But let's say ARV is 215 times by 93%. I guarantee you we're off by like 5 or 10 grand. So we're going to go times 0.93 minus by 65. Minus by the desired profit of our end buyer, which we don't know. But if we're going to assume that in this case, it's 10% of ARV, that's 21.5, just minus 25,000. Just round it up for him. He wants to make more money. Okay. What are we listed at?
119. We're off by 10 grand.
So what we can do is we can understand, first off, we need to make sure that what he's willing to make on the deal is 25. Second, we need to make sure the renovation cost is truly 65. It could be 75, 85, which obviously would take this down another 10, 20K. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to factor in those variable numbers if they are even variable. Otherwise, if they're accurate, I'm going to base it off of 109. The only thing I didn't include was your wholesale fee. So if we can understand where it's listed as 119 and you wanted to make 10K and he's willing to pay 110, first off, he's not going to be willing to pay 110 because if he did, he probably saw one of the 3 properties that were available and he would have offered it already. But just being aware that if he was willing to pay 110, you got it at 100, you make $10,000. So in this case, what I think is more realistic as to what he's willing to offer, just assuming my rehab budget was a little lower and the exterior, I would be submitting around 75 to 80K on this. Gives you enough room to be conservative.
Drop from 110
the
to
reason
75, 80K.
Just the condition. And that's just off of what I'm going to assume based off of that there's no active inventory. If his buy price was 110, Mike would have written an offer on a property 10K below their list price and probably gotten it. I think that they've probably gotten multiple offers that have been in that range that they haven't taken serious, which then comes down to how good's your follow-up and at what point does the pain for the seller become too much that they're willing to take that price. And Jamil says this fantastic, and I think that huge kudos to him because this is a great way to explain it. You're not giving them 60 cents on the dollar. You're giving them 100% of as is value of what the condition of the property is currently in. This is a price factor that we can't make up. The numbers is everything that I'm guessing off of and estimating, being that I've never once stepped foot in Grand Rapids. If we had a buyer give us what the price per square foot is they're going off of, and he could go in and underwrite this property, he would probably come back and tell me, and I'm shooting lower with an assignment fee. He would probably come back below 100,000, but at what price? It depends on what he's calculating in reno. If he's going to calculate this at 65, 70K in renovation, we're not that far off. So
cool. Well, let's call the agent and see if we can submit an offer.
Let's do it.
We got 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. So I looked it up online. It looks like This first number is a brokerage. But I'm going to try this other one. It looks like there's another number on here.
Hi, press 1 to be connected to this Premier agent. You will now be connected to this Premier agent on a call recorded for quality purposes.
Hello, you have reached the voicemail box of Jake Schmittler, GR Home Group, powered by 5 Star Real Estate.
Oh boy. And I sent him a text. What's up, Jake? From State Farm. Just kidding. Oh, what's up, Jake? Calling about your property.
Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob? On Zillow, it shows Jake.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. We're I mean, unless he's in trouble, I might call him Jacob. I mean,
I know that some people are testy about that. Like, no, my name's Jacob. You know, like
for sure.
When you give him a nickname right out of the gate.
So this is another thing too. Never send this text. What's up, Jake? Calling about your property on Hall Southeast. You want to say, what's up, Jake? Calling about a property you've got listed. If he's got one, he knows what I'm talking about. If he's got multiple, he's curious. The whole goal here is that he's going to call us back regardless. So you got to give just a little bit of information, but then you're trying to get the pull back. So in this case, I'm saying, what's up, Jake? Calling about a property you've got listed. He should call that number back. Should call me. That conversation, I would probably go verbal just to start, but it's going to be a range. It's not going to be, hey, I'm willing to give you $73,430. No, I'm going to say, hey, this is a range of probably 60 to 80K. Your seller's probably going to think that's a waste of time. Oh yeah, we've gotten 2,700 offers at that price point. Okay, well, sounds good. I understand.
Yeah.
Why haven't they taken it? Asking the right questions is half the battle once you understand what your intention is behind the conversation. So in this case, just hearing them out, listening to what the seller's case is there a certain point where the motivation tips? Because what I will tell you is the last little tip here, guys, where that pendulum goes back and forth, where it suddenly flips, where the agent's motivation is higher than the seller's, is when they're about to lose the listing. So in this case, this guy's probably gotten blown up with a bunch of different offers. And now even looking at it too, Benson, I retract what I said earlier because I just noticed this got listed 4 days ago. So Mike might not have seen this property. If this had been sitting, different conversation. So the 75-85 might even be extremely low. You don't know until you get on the phone with this guy, Jacob. So get on the phone with him, have a conversation, figure out what the seller's motivation is, but also have the situational awareness knowing that this has been listed for 4 days. Is the seller extremely motivated? It's less likely being that it's 4 days on market because they did list it at an aggressive price point. They listed it with the only disadvantage being that they are a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom instead of a 3-2. That is it. So in this case, this could very well be a deal that I'd bring to Mike. I would go and ask him what his buy box is, what his criteria is as to how much money he's looking to make, and more importantly, what are you running for your cost per square foot? I don't mean to ask all of your personal business. I'm just trying to get to the root of not wasting your time and bringing you as much value as possible. So if that's me being able to understand how you calculate your numbers and bringing the opportunities that I come across to you first, he will share with you all that you need to know. So then take that information, run your numbers according. I based my numbers super conservative because I don't want someone to go get this under contract and be like, what the hell, Ryan? I got it at 105 and I couldn't sell it. If you get it at 105, if you find a really good buyer, you could probably sell it. If you are looking on a very, very real scale, the offer might be below 100, but you could still make 5-10K. And if you're licensed, double dip. Get the commission plus an assignment fee, and that's how you make the money on this deal.
There's one thing I want to point out here too. We're throwing around numbers like 5 or 10K.
Yeah.
I really think that for on-market deals that you find with Privy, you guys, like to go for 10K on a $100,000 house is unrealistic. Like
It's a lot.
You should be happy making a couple thousand, $3,500, up to $5,000 on a deal you spent zero time looking for, zero marketing dollars. So be really realistic about what you can make and what you should make on a deal that you have really zero time investment, just your Privy account.
I mean, Benson, even perspective wise, like I think that was a great nugget. So think about it this way. how much time did we spend? And we went really slow today too. But in 1 hour, I found a buyer, and then we could possibly get an offer submitted. In 1 hour, what would you make at a 9 to 5 job? And I don't mean to compare to bring it super down. I'm just saying, like, in the standpoint of at a 9 to 5 job, you're making 25 to 35 bucks an hour at a good paying job. If you break down that this might have taken you all in all, if you get the deal, you get it under contract, get it sold, you found a buyer in less than an hour, you're theoretically making thousands of dollars per hour. Like Benson just said, have the awareness. You don't need to go make 50K on a 100K deal. Those are awesome. But also, too, I question how that all came to be. There's a lot more to unpack. In these cases, if you can make a quick $2,500 to $3,000 for a quick hour or two of work, that's the beauty behind wholesaling. It is the only thing that I found that is legal, that is a get rich quick scheme. And I don't even advertise it as that because, again, it takes twice as much work to get half as much money as what it did a year ago. So just understand that you do have a lot of challenges, but if you could follow along here and understand what we're doing and what we're saying, we're guiding you to that promised land where all you have to do is go out there and make the phone calls. You have all the information of what I'm going and searching just on the other side of the screen from Benson for all of you to do live. So after I make these calls, get on the phone with Jacob. If you guys are looking for Mike's information, pop in the Discord. Let's go and let's collaborate. You guys take the deal. I don't want a dime from it. I want you to go out there and get your first deal. And I want you to be able to go and invest into your business and into yourself. That's where the value is for us. Let's get you your deal first. Then let's see you invest into other things.
Awesome. Well, I think there's something here. You definitely got some momentum here. I think that, if you do decide to work with Mike long term, this would be a good market for you. It's like I said before, it's not a huge, high investor activity area, but you've already got some seeds planted. I think this is great. And you got a couple people here that were looking to do some stuff on Grand Rapids. So check this deal out, you guys. This is just one of many. So set your searches, save them so that as things pop up and if the numbers make sense right out of the gates, then get that offer out. If they've been sitting around for a little bit, 33,000 or 33 days here, then that's to give you the ability to start to negotiating a much deeper discount to make the numbers work. But I think we got a lot done today, Ryan. This is a good call.
Oh, absolutely. I feel fantastic about it. Appreciate all you guys throwing the love out there in the comments. This is what it's all about. It's to go out there and be able to get that proof of concept and create the generational wealth. We're trying to give you guys the keys to the Ferrari. Just rev up the engine and have some fun. Let's just make sure we're out there doing what we need to. Work hard, play hard. Remember, the first part comes. Like, that's what you need to do. You've got to go and work hard before you play hard. And I'm all about that balance. So I appreciate you guys. If there's anything you guys need in the meantime, make sure to drop your comments below, pop in the Discord, pop in Privy's Facebook group. Make sure you guys sign up for Privy. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. And thank you again for tuning in. Peace out.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.